Welcome to another video. This one is entitled Indigo Children because that is what I am. I fit the definition of what the phenomenon of an indigo child is, but there is somewhere where I do also differ, but that's what we're going to talk about a little bit, and it's also going to have everything to do with this very, very interesting vision, this drawing here that we're going to talk about, and also this meteorite from outer space. Okay, so it's going to be an interesting little 15 minutes here. Alright, some of you have heard me say before that I have got a unique history and that I quite possibly might talk about it one day. You might have ever heard me briefly state in comments or in video that I have been in contact with what some of you might call alien beings ever since I was very, very young. And I believe that I have been contacted by what some of you would call aliens because of what and how I'm related to this as being an indigo child. So, for some of you who are not aware of what an indigo child is, I would like you, when you have time, to Google Indigo Children 1972. That is my birth year, 1972, and when you do, you will be given a lot of topics, a lot of information, and I have selected myself today for you to read one of those brief summaries that is from one of those websites where I've told you to Google. And to help explain what it is, I'm going to read this brief summary right now. Indigo children are people with indigo-colored auras. They are said to have enhanced genes or genetic mutations. No, not genetic mutations such as 3 arms and 1 leg. They basically have positive mutations in their genes that their parents don't have. They are geniuses, or at least intelligent beyond their years. They are adept at using ESP, psychokinesis, etc. They believe that school is just a waste of time, and this person on this site gives a quote from Mark Twain that says, "I never let schooling get in the way of my education." End quote. They are also extremely sympathetic and sometimes are misdiagnosed with ADHD. Lastly, it is said that they will have some sort of involvement in 2012. As to what that is, we do not know. And I would have to say, speaking for myself as being one of these people, that yeah, I do believe that I have a major involvement in this situation that we're all going through right now. That I've definitely absolutely been prepared for something. I know that. Alright, so now how does really all of that relate to me? And let me just give you a quick rundown about my education here. At 2nd grade, I was considered to be gifted, and I was up-tested in all of my academic, or all of my reading levels, and up-tested as high as you could go. From that point on, I had above average in those every, I guess, school year, SAT, SRAs, whatever they're called, above average in all of that. By the time I was in 7th grade, I was attending a after-school gifted kids program, and by the time I was in 9th grade, I dropped out of high school, and which is ironic because in that same year I was notified that I was accepted to Johns Hopkins, which is a school in Maryland, I think, and I don't really know much about it. I actually never went. I was accepted and I never went, and I guess I was accepted because of my academic record or whatever. But long story short, there was a lot of drama in my life at this time, and I was unable to go. So I dropped out of school, and I got my GED and have been working and being an artist ever since. So that the fact that I dropped out of school actually increased my education rather than shortchanged it. Let's just put it that way. And yes, I do have abilities that are different than other people's abilities. Let's just put it that way. I am no prophet, okay? I have toyed with the idea in thought because I have not really known what was going on with me, to be quite honest. It's been somewhat of a mystery for myself, and I was quite relieved when I did find out that there were other people like me, and that this phenomenon was directly related to what I was going through. But I'm no prophet. I am a regular person that just has, in my words, my own words, a greater obsession with the spiritual world than the average person does. And that obsession results in more information and a greater understanding of that hidden information because of that obsession that I have. And that's really the only way I can put it. It's just a downright, absolute, forward drive obsession that I have with the other side, the spiritual world, the Father, Jesus Christ, and everything therein. So, now, this relates into this UFO situation. Let's just put it to you this way. Since December 29th of 2010, which is less than a year ago, I have had well over 500 UFO, what you would call alien or spirit contacts, visitations, experiences, literally, and that is a fact. I do have witnesses, and you could not imagine, and this is just all right up until 2 nights ago. And of course, my family that are close to me, I'm sure they're worried about me. I'm sure some of them might even be watching this video now. And but they do know me too. And I can trust in that they know my heart. They've seen me grow. They know that this isn't some sort of new condition. Let's just put it that way. They have known this peculiarness about me ever since I was a little child. So it's only rightly that they should know more of it and face the reality that there are some very unique things that are happening in our world right now. So to this drawing, okay, which I did in 1992, this drawing is going to reveal an event that somehow I had the vision to see as early as 1992. I know that you can't see it well, but you can see it well enough for me to point out the features. Alright, first off about this drawing, we've got a giant plane here with something written on the side. We've got some sort of evil villain that's reaching out for these 2 towers. Alright, and now you probably already know what I'm talking about. And this event is all connected right here, as you can see. First off, I did this drawing for a child. Yes, it's a scribble, because that's all it was meant to be, was a scribble for a child. And I drew the whole thing, which is the whole rest of this huge, incredible seeing vision that I have, that we don't have enough room to talk about it, complete with UFOs, hollow moon, you name it. What's happened here, I've got it on here. Complete to don't drink the water with what's going on in Japan, the whole 9. Alright, let's explain what we have. First off, let's explain the towers. Alright, you can see, hopefully, that there is a window here, and there's a door here. You can't see it well, but there's a window and there's a door. Alright, and you see a little chimney stack, if you will. That lets you know that this is a dwelling place, alright, that people are in here. Alright, these 2 towers are the World Trade Centers. The symbolism for the mushrooms. Remember, I was working with a small child. Fairy tales and fables, you always think about, with mushrooms and elves and gnomes and stuff like that living in mushrooms. So I was drawing in a childlike mannerism for him to understand. But also, for those of you who know, the mushroom also represents illusion or hallucination. So we know that this event is the grand illusion, the grand deception. So quite surprisingly and quite fittingly, we have mushrooms that depict the two towers. We have this character here, my friends, that is like an evil villain wearing the supervillain boots, has the cape. You can barely make it out, but there's an S on this cape right here, which stands for Saddam Hussein. On his head, we have like a turban or a handkerchief or like a scarf wrapped around his head. He's got an evil hooked nose and an evil grin, and if you can see it, he's got claw-like hands that are reaching for the two towers. Now, because this is the illusion, remember, we evaded Iraq and went and hung Saddam, the S. Now, we know that Saddam didn't do this, and we know that Osama didn't do this. But what my vision is showing me is what the events and how they took place, and this is exactly what happened. Iraq became the villain, and we evaded Iraq, and Saddam became the evil villain who we hung basically as the appeasement for this event for the American people at this time. Now, you can barely see it. I wish I had a better camera quality, but I want you to see that there is a stick figure. There's a stick figure with a round head, the hair, the hands going back, and the legs going back, that is jumping for their life from this tower here. Now let's get to the meat and potatoes that is really going to show you that this is something here. Here is the big passenger jet. There it is, the big passenger plane, the wings sticking out, the fire coming out of the wing with the engine. And man, I really apologize you can't see it, but you can just make out ASSIN. And what I was trying to spell here, my friends, is assassin. I ran out of room and I shortened it. I've got assassin or assin here on this plane, symbolizing this plane as the assassinator. Then I had no idea why I was doing that. I never even remembered I did it until I looked back at this some 4 months ago and was floored. I was absolutely floored. So here we have the passenger jet associated as the assassin in the event with the two towers, with the evil villain with the S on the cape, the people leaping. I wish I could get you to see that better from the towers. This is the 911 event. I saw into the depths of time, more should I say, maybe into the patterns of time, and this is the result of this event. Now, I'm not going to try to cram this down your throat, okay? If you don't see it, you don't see it. No worry to me. I see it. Now, real quick about this. This is a meteorite, all right? I'm going to have to do this fast. I'm running out of time. This is a magnet that's sticking on its side. I have in front of me a 9-pound, 4-ounce meteorite from outer space. It's an ironite meteorite. That's why the magnet's sticking to it. Real quick, I had a vision from watching a show called Meteorite Men, and I just got some sort of incredible feeling like I always do when something like this is about to happen, to where I knew that I was going to find a meteorite. Well, I never went looking for meteorites. About 2 weeks later, I was actually doing something else, and I was in an abandoned house, and I was looking for material to make my art out of. I make my art out of antique materials. And in this house, buried 2 foot under rubble, 2 foot, I couldn't even see it. My foot somehow recognized this 2 weeks later, about after I had this vision about finding a meteorite, and there I have the meteorite right in front of you. Amazing. Thank you for listening, my friends. Thank you.